So, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has really taken a swipe at the judiciary. In our conversation today, as we build up to 2027, there's also been concerns on the need for electoral reforms. We've seen some of those reforms producing results in the part of the election that has to do with voting. You come to the polling booths, you are accredited, and then of course you go to vote. But it looks like all of the demons in electoral malpractices, they are relocated to the collation center. Let me begin with the gentleman at Mego. What kind of reforms do we still need in our electoral process to fast track the strengthening of democracy against the background of this scathing attack by ex-President Olusegun Obasanjo?
Well, Doctor, thank you so much for bringing up this topic. With the greatest respect to our former President Obasanjo, he is the major cause of the problem we have in this country today. He started it himself. So you cannot now sit down the comfort of your room and start criticizing the present president and governors. He started it. He destroyed political parties in this country. We were doing very well in this country. I'm a founding member of APC. As it then was, it was MRDD to ACD to AC and then metamorphosis to APC. Obasanjo, when he became president, the first statement he made was that, oh, because I'm the president, I'm now the leader of the political party, which is wrong. The party is supreme. The party is supposed to give directives to those that are in governance. But Obasanjo destroyed that, and we have found it difficult to come back to where we used to be. So he should hold himself responsible, because he had a long time to change it as a president of this country. He has ruled longer than any other president in this country. So, Baba, take your own time, look back, and see, look at the trajectory of everything. Look back and know that you are the cause of the problem, with the greatest respect. But having said that, we're talking of judiciary. Thankfully enough, I'm a lawyer. You see, yes, there can be some corrupt judges. Few can be corrupt. But even then, it is what you say to the court that the court can work on. Court has no right to descend to the arena and help your case. Prove your case. Those who are vowed, we say in law, must prove. You prove your case before the judge, and the judgment will come along what you have been able to prove. Yes, some people quarrel, oh, they have taken 300 million. Who will give it 300 million? To who? Where would they spend that 300 million? How many the judges who are retired now can't even buy new cars? You know, give an example of Edo State. Udalo went to court. Well, Udalo went to court, and all of us were in court. Now you discredited completely the exercise. And after discrediting it that there was no election, you are now asking the court to reinstate you as governor of the Edo State. Who does that? Something you say wasn't right, you want to now gain from what wasn't right before you. It's not possible. And so the judge went along that line. I am not saying that it was the best judgment, but it was what was proved beyond judges that they delivered their judgment on. Some of the judges may not be as corrupt as we think. So, sir, when we are destroying judges, we should take time destroying them. Yes, the Judas in among 12, but it's not all of them. Okay. That's my submission on that. But probably we'll come back on Obasanjo. Okay. It's a very serious matter on Obasanjo.
Okay. All right, Barrister Greg Iyayi. I talked about the need for electoral reforms in the build-up to 2027. I've heard people say that, you know, if we must make any impact in the 2027 election different from what has been in the public space in terms of electoral success, there is need for reforms in the electoral process. One of them has been the thorny issue of the mode of transmission of election results. Can you give me your legal perspectives on that?
The greatest thing about election is whether that election has integrity or not. The integrity of an election can even completely obliterate the need for legal tussles. If an election is seen to be free, fair, and acceptable to all parties, so the loser can say, okay, I lost today, I'll go and prepare, maybe I'll win tomorrow. But when an election is seen not to be credible, particularly, you see, you pinpointed the problem. The problem is not really at the voting centers. Most of our voters now conduct themselves very, very peacefully. And they just go there, they vote. That collation, that transmission of the result, I think till we have a system that allows the transmission of the result from the very ward where the people vote. I mean, we are going to be in a very go round of problems, because no matter what we provide, even if we write the best laws in the books, if the people that execute those laws, now what can those laws, are not good, they are ill-intentioned, then we are going to we'll continue to have bad results. And this has been the problem in the election. The problem is not so much about the laws, it's actually about the people that are implementing the law, the actors on ground, particularly at the collation centers. So by the time people discover that what was recorded at the vote is not what was eventually committed and announced, and I think INEC, they should redeem their name. We can't continue like this. There will be an implosion. It's not a prophecy, and it's not. Nobody is calling for doomsday. We just cannot continue with bad election and expect that people are going to watch. Somehow, there will be some reaction somewhere that we are not likely to be able to. Handle. Okay. Our daddy had mentioned something about the judiciary. I will quickly say the problem with the judiciary, as we see it today, is that as a lawyer, I know this. I can give all the evidence. What they say is that the law is what the court says it is. The law is what the court says it is. Supposing the court decides, on the other side, then I haven't got justice. They have given judgment, but I have not gotten justice. So this is where the third issue. We cannot rule it out. I'm a lawyer. I cannot sit here to condemn judges. But we cannot rule out the fact that some questionable judgment, particularly on the election, has been given.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ohaifo. Share with us here your thoughts on the issue of electoral fraud, where we hear politicians win at all costs, like ex-President Obasanjo talked about, and then they ask you to go to court. I mean, that statement is very, very powerful. Does that resonate with you?
The statement speaks for itself. That go to court. What does it mean when somebody say, even if I slap you, whatever I do, you go to court, I'll meet you in court? It already means that they already have an arrangement in court. So, but the greatest mistake that we made as a nation going into this fourth republic, this democracy system, was to allow the military people to inherit the democratic process. You see, they came with the military mentality of you must obey. So that was why even the same of Obasanjo. It was in his time we had something like this election is do or die affair. It was in his time we were recording. We had at the Sovereignty States 30 over so. It was only in Lagos, and so the AD was getting some maybe tribal sentiment resistance, so to speak. So you realize that during that 2002 general election, especially, you discover that thugs were mobilized to almost all the polling stations. That's where you come, shoot, go, carry the ballot boxes, and then they stop it and announce results. So that military mentality, the military held us this country for so long, since 1966. Even the little period of Shagari spent, he didn't have the rest of mind. So this military mentality of brutality is what the politicians of today have inherited. After Obasanjo, it was as if that was not good, bad enough. We got another ex-military man, Muhammad Buhari of blessed memory. So you see that the entire system was militarized. So that what we have today is that go and give me results. In those days, when you get PDP nomination, I will attack you. Yes, attack you. But
what does that mean?
Okay.
Okay. For the benefit of our international audience, yeah.
Mr. Fisa, all those kind of things. So, but my greatest challenge is when APC was coming, they come with the slogan of change. So we expected that the change was that those negativity of the past, so-called negativity of the past, will be changed and will now have a sane democracy. But for us to still have, even when this idea of excess show of power
You want to show that you are in charge, that we get power, that we are in government, we can do and not do. It's winning everywhere. So as it were today, the courts is just a place where they go and negotiate. So that is why you discover that whatever you are taking to the court, we have a clear confession in this country of the case of Buka Chawa, or so, once again to Buka Chawa, who came up and told Nigerians how he was replacing the wife to give the judgment. Are we not in this country? Are we forgotten so soon? It's not 4 years old. It's not 3 years. What we are talking about. So the problem is that we have to demilitarize our democracy. I think the way it is going now, we don't have democracy.
Okay.
The last election, by-election we had last Saturday, even when it was obvious that the ruling party will win, you still see them deploy guns everywhere. In my polling booth, I sent you some of the videos. In my polling booth, a retired colonel of the Nigerian Army. In fact, I don't know how we can modify our law to say that you have served Nigerian Army, rest. You don't come into politics because that mentality is still there that people must obey you. He came to the field, let people, Colonel Limu said, the DPO was there.
I want us to play that on the name because he's not here to be able to react to the point that he's not here.
He's
yeah,
listening.
yes,
He's listening. So
yes.
No,
go ahead. Just make the point without necessarily mentioning names there.
So for such a capacity of somebody to lead your community, there was restriction of movement. Lead your community, cross up to about 30 kilometers, come to that community, beat up people. When you go to the field, you said any person that is PDP, leave the field. Anybody that is PDP, leave the field. They decided to go. The PDP leader the field. They heard it. Told, is it because that man is not a woman? If it was a woman in the airport, all of you will be sending money and calling for justice for him. They naked this man, stark naked. It was women that brought out rapper to cover this man's nakedness. And they went away with it. Nobody's talking about it, everybody's laying down. Then, is there anyone who has the monopoly of violence?
No one.
He was coming to that community with stocks. The people in the community could have made ambush inside the bush there. And they're coming out, they're getting them down. So what are we going to amount to? So we should appeal. Also, I'm going to say, Umokao, I think we
that's right.
First, you are still dragging for second. It's obvious that your party is winning.
Okay.
And you are still coming to beat up people, should go, blood talks, and there are all of videos, and nobody is talking about it.
Okay, well, you are talking about it here on this platform.
I've been talking about it.
Yes.
Everybody's saying, shining away. That is why we haven't got here.
All right.
But next election, and those people who was beating and they said they were prepared in another way.
All right.
So we should demilitarize our election and ensure that the idea of the president appointing chief judge before taking to Senate to go and ratify, it should be a nullity. The essence of the president appointing INEC chairman is always we are making jest of ourselves.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Okai, for the segment. Let me come to Barrister Amego. In ex-President Obasanjo's book, which of course we've seen is a very trending story, the points that he highlighted, they are very germane, based on the perspectives of most analysts as it relates to the integrity of our electoral process, the integrity of the judiciary. If we dismiss it by saying that, oh, he's part of the problem, is that not tantamount to throwing the baby and the bathwater away against the background, the realities of the country that we are facing today? I mean, okay, we just talked about, you already knew the trend or the way the election would go.
Yes,
in the by-election.
Yes.
And yet we still had instances where ballot boxes were destroyed. Electoral violence still took place in an election that was already projected to go in a particular direction.
That report is very unfortunate because the present governor of Gbawolo is not a violent man at all. Why are you shooting gun? Who wants to come and shoot gun there? Again, people were running. Even though APC was going to win, that was obvious. That APC was. Why were you still shooting gun? You want to please those in Benin. You have not pleased anybody in Benin. You have only pleased yourself. That is by the way. Again, our problem is our own selves. We yield to all these persuasions that are unnecessary. We are still talking about Obasanjo. Obasanjo went to one town and said, oh, where did this man get the money to build this type of house? You, Obasanjo, you built a 7.5 billion library. Where did you get that money?
For public donations. Public donations.
Say that to the
of course, that's what happened.
Obasanjo, you had a 12-mile square farm, mechanized farming. Where did you get the money to have that? 12-mile square mechanized farming up to today. So
the point I'm making now, when we talk like this, are we not, leaving out the essence, the message of what he was trying to communicate in that book?
The message is bias. That's why I'm talking. You see, you in glass house, you not throw stones. If you are in glass house, you will be thrown out. What he has said may be right, I'm not quarreling with that. But he did the same when he was there. This slogan of go to court, he introduced it. The elections they do or that, he introduced it. And so they started killing elections in this country. He himself was one of those that killed proper elections in this country. It's unfortunate, Baba. Sorry, I'm just telling you because you did it. So what do you want us to do? We just talk here and talk, and that is here. Nobody implements. Nobody implements. It's unfortunate. If you talk like this in a civilized country, they will investigate. Look at what Professor just said now. He's been telling people nobody has ordered arrest of that man. The IGP is here, the commissioner is here. Why have they not arrested that man to come and say what he knows about that? Yes, even the DPO. Everybody is just quiet. They're not supposed to be quiet. Well, the idea you said, which is very interesting to me, or what it was a professor who said it, promotion, nomination, judges, INEC, they should go for examinations and ask people to come and mark their papers. They should not be responsible to Mr. President. They should not be responsible to Mr. Governor, wherever they are. They should be purely independent. It's a guy to say independent. Are they actually independent? They are not. That's because of our problem. At the end, they go to court. And when you go to court, they stand firmly on what they have released. They will never change. Even if you go challenge them right, left, like he was saying, they will never change. This is our result. Yet, Professor also said, at the time they said, when the vote is ended, they are your representatives and they will sign. They take the papers to court. Nobody look at them. Nobody will look at the result you are bringing. And that result will come from nowhere. So where are we going? You see, look at Traore. That will take you out of the country. Go see the new town he built for his people. Is he using his old car? He has not changed his car. President of Burkina Faso. Is he dresses like a soldier? So you cannot rule out all soldiers. That Mufti, he rides an old car that he was using. He gets his old salary. That's a human being. But the gratifying thing is that all of us are walking sand. We are mud. At the end of the day, God will call everybody home and face judgment.
Okay.
Because it's unfortunate in this country, it gives somebody lamentation to see what is happening in this country.
Okay. If you just join us, it's still Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. We'll take a short break. When we return, we will be talking about the politicians, particularly as it relates to electoral malpractices and, of course, the influencing of judges and judgments. And just to key you into another part of the conversation, a research was done recently on how the parliament members at the State House of Assembly, at the Houses of Representatives, as well as in the Senate, the level of participation in plenary. What is their level of contribution in plenary? The zero, the report is quite damning and quite concerning and interesting. We'll take a look at all of that when we return on the program Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. Please stay. Thanks again for rejoining us on the program Politics Today, reaching you live on Independent Television and Radio. We're still looking at the need for electoral reforms to ensure that we have a better democracy that really will be concerned about the people and meet the expectations of the average Nigerians. And there's something former President Obasanjo said, which of course I want to give you a bit of, while describing some of these allegations against the judiciary. He said, he alleged that there is pervasive corruption and described the system as a court of corruption as against being a court of justice. That shows to you his perspectives on